Josh, Sam, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having us. It's an
Such a
honour to be
pleasure.
here with you in this very cool space.
Oh, it's been fun. I did not write this cover feature. Lars Brandle did such an excellent job. And I was not there for the cover shoot either. But I heard that when you got there, it was a bit of a surprise when you saw what Gigi McGee, our photographer, had involved for you.
It was amazing, wasn't it? I mean, it was definitely a much bigger operation than I had anticipated. You know,
Yeah.
I thought, and I knew we were gonna, get a bit freaky with some colours and stuff, but just like the amount of how many people were in there with us, which was great. You know, I mean, we just like everyone helping on the design. We had the hair and makeup.
Yeah.
We had there must have been sort of the 10 people in there all together or something.
Probably
helping out in different ways.
Probably the fanciest photo shoot we've done.
We'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just like, wow, this is like, we feel like rock stars now.
Yeah.
Well, a Rolling Stone cover story does officially anoint you as a rock star.
I feel that way. It was really an
definitely,
honour. It really was an honour to be on, to be on the cover there and in the magazine. We only got back from overseas the other day, so in last week or something. So it's like, and my folks had bought me a copy, so I'd I had one at home. So it was my first sort of the physical one there.
You've only seen the physical magazine.
Well, we're overseas. We're overseas, and we're like, it's out, but we've only seen pictures of it because
it's
we haven't.
gorgeous,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's so
layout
cool.
of it,
It's so cool.
I really like it. Yeah, it's really good to see it in the flesh. Actually, it's really fantastic. This is my favorite. Actually, I really like the cover
big
photo on the inside. That's my favorite bit there. I reckon.
We really battled with which to go with for the front cover because we obviously had you in the blue with the blue set and then the orange with the orange and yellow set, and then we had you mix it up too with the different backgrounds but different suits, and also the blue eyes with the blue.
That's cool. That looks lovely, doesn't it? Yeah, it's really nice.
But you didn't know that you were going to walk into like a hand painted suit with a hand painted set, did you?
No, we had no idea.
No, we didn't know. So it was fun. It was just kind of like exploring along and a really great bunch of people. I mean, it felt really fun. Like,
it was a lot of fun.
Even though I say there was a lot of us in there, it was really comfortable straight away. And they're such pros at just being a really cool scene and also really great. Which I think really helps, like a really great playlist of music, which is appropriate, doesn't it, for like a music magazine? That we should have a really good,
Yeah, but there's a lot of emphasis on what music we're listening to while we're taking the photos, and I think that's really cool because I think the way we make music is kind of very similar. I think in that way, we just I think it's a lot about the process and how we make it and where we make it, and that's huge for us. So it's kind of cool to see like a visual team really get on board with music to create their art, which is awesome. Yeah.
Well, Gigi McGee is actually a musician herself, so she gets it. And then her husband is in the Rubens.
Of course, who was there with us as well, helping out. It feels really like home with them as well. Very sort of big mushroom family crew.
Yeah.
Really, so it's really nice to get to hang out with all of them. So big, musician / visual artists, legends. How good's that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, speaking of the Mushroom Family and also legends, there is a beautiful part. There's a few parts in here where Lars Brandle, the writer, talks about Michael Kudinski and the influence that he had on you and how much he has missed. And there's a moment where you mention that sometimes you're in a situation and you say, what would Michael Kudinski do?
Yeah.
I love that. It's like, what would Jesus do? But it's better than Jesus because it's an icon in the industry. Yeah. Have you had a moment lately where you've done a what would Michael Kudinski do?
Yeah, I mean, we do them all the time.
I'm
trying to think of the last one I had.
A Glastonbury outfit.
Yeah, maybe something like that. I'm trying to think. Well, that's a good one. I mean, that's a good one to say. And we were like, and it's sort of, we had this really cool moment with, doing with Glastonbury overseas. So we actually, while we were lining up that tour, we had an offer from Glastonbury when it was just a really, like they do, just a really sort of small offer. It wasn't a big stage or something we wanted. And it was kind of cool. And at the time we were just like, you know what, we don't need to do this right now. So we just sort of, and it was a bit of a Michael moment, like, you know what?
Yeah, what would Michael? He wouldn't accept that offer.
Yeah,
he wouldn't do that. Yeah, and so we said no 2 times to Glastonbury, didn't we? Until the third time.
And then it was really lucky because when we were over there, then a position opened up because someone had to cancel. And then it was on the big stage at a really good time. And while we were in Europe last minute, we kind of they gave us they were much better offer on a big stage. And it was like,
Yeah.
And we're talking offers that were like, we couldn't, we'd lose money on a kind of vibe. Even just break even would have been okay.
Yeah.
This is what I'm thinking, because a lot of people think, oh, well, you said no to Glastonbury. It's not a diva moment. It's like, is this financially viable?
Yeah.
Could we even break even? You don't want to play Glastonbury and like come out with less money,
Absolutely,
which is possible for these. You know, there's a lot
we were
of
touring with an
bands.
8-piece band and 4 crew.
Which essentially with the lineup we did break even with Glastonbury, didn't we? Because even though it was quite a hefty offer, we had to go to some extremes to get there.
Well, it happened when we got there. It was a very last minute offer, and then it was like, and we were in the south of France, like deep in the south of France, like playing the night before at a festival, and then we were playing the afternoon. So we played like Saturday night or Friday night in the south of France, deep at a festival down there, and then we had to get back for a 3 p.m. slot at Glastonbury, and it was actually just physically not possible to bus it there or do things like that. So we had to charter a plane. So we chartered a plane to get back to Glastonbury. It was a very rock and roll moment. Yeah.
Like a nice private jet,
Was that your first time in a PJ?
That was that was the first time.
And so it was really fun for everyone. We were kind of like from this tiny airport, jump on there, and it was really funny because that was just the only way that we could get back in time. So it was just this, we did the math and we're like, okay, by the time we get a ferry, by the time we drive, it's just so. And we sort of just said yes, and we was like, we'll make it work. And then it was like, this could be.
This is actually hard to make it work.
But worth it? Would do it again?
Oh yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, the Glastonbury was a beautiful experience, and the private jet was a beautiful experience as well.
Yeah, it was very fun. Very short flight, but it was good.
20 minutes of glory.
Yeah.
Interesting. Only 20 minutes. Yeah. I was reading this feature and I realized you were on such a career high at the time. Like multiple ARIA wins. Global sold out dates, millions of streams happening. And then once the album was out and once the feature was out and the cover was all over Coles and all over Australia and New Zealand, things have just gone to another level. Like you've recently won another bunch of ARIAs, you've released another EP, you're on a tour right now with a bunch of sold out dates, you're about to sell out Sydney Myer Music Bowl, huge, and heading overseas to play probably more sold out dates in Europe and the UK. Does it feel as mammoth as it sounds when I list it all off like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful thing. I mean, I think it does feel big when I take time to sort of, and especially the last 6 months, since the release of, Winding Way and with the help of, like Rolling Stone and all these things that was a really big moment for us. Like this record was a really big moment for us. And these recent tours were really, really big for us. So it was kind of, because it just feels like this, I think spending that big bit of time overseas, really hitting the ground in the UK for a long time, really felt like we just had a lot more movement over there.
Yeah.
So this, this year for me has really felt, we got a bit of a saying with our song, like the zombie song that we did the cover of, this will be our year. And it has really felt like the year that we've been working towards more than any other year, I think, because with music, and I think a lot of musicians will sort of relate to this, it's always about that next thing. So it's always about, you're almost never living in the moment because it's kind of this like, okay, there's that next tour, you got to keep pushing, you go for that thing. And it's like, and often you're sort of, that there is that kind of break even thing to do this tour, because then once we've done that, that's going to be the thing that's going to be, you're going to be set up as a, as a band. And and we've been kind of at this for the last sort of 7 or 8 years, regular touring, doing these kind of things, and it's just sort of, and it felt like it's all built towards this year for me. I felt like it's been a really special year, and some of these things have felt really huge. They felt really big, and so it's sort of so yeah. In a way, I always try to take time to acknowledge and think about it and be really grateful and for this amazing opportunity in this position to be in. We feel very I'm very grateful to all the people for being there and for the support, for the music lovers. It's really we feel really privileged and really blessed. So it's a lovely thing.
It's so interesting when you say like you're always thinking of the next thing. That makes so much sense. And one of the reasons why a lot of artists can get caught up in the whirlwind of it, I guess, is when they don't take time to sit back, reflect, and go, that was amazing. And sometimes there just physically isn't time. Sometimes they're just, pulled from pillar to post. But I imagine that your connection to your family would really help with that. It's such a beautiful theme in this entire cover feature that Lars Brandle wove through it, which is your connection to family and the importance of that. And I imagine that helps you stay a bit more grounded.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's a perfect word. Like when you're saying that, I just was like, yeah, that is definitely something that keeps us very centered and grounded. Like you're kind of everything. I don't think we could have probably almost turned down the Glastonbury thing without having our like family grounding us, like around that time, being like, oh, actually, like we've always got that there, and it's kind of like, it means we can be a bit more bold with our decisions, I guess, and yeah, definitely keeps us grounded.
Does that mean like when you go on this next big global tour, wives and kids coming again?
Absolutely, yeah. I'll be with us, and especially for me, I my two, and my partner always come with me. Sam, mine is still quite little at the moment, so we've got we just feel like while they're 2 and 3 years old, so while they're young, before they start school, it's like
it's a good time to travel.
We're just planning on just traveling with them, and just sticking together, so it's been really amazing, goals and amazing achievements as a family. We've really enjoyed it, and I feel very thankful and privileged for Hannah, my partner, for putting aside so much of her years to sort of come and just do this for me essentially, and for the family. So it's amazing sacrifice and very and a lot of work. So it's been really but a really special time. So we've had a really amazing time doing it. We're going to keep on doing it for the next, at least for next year, so we'll do we got another year planned of it, and we're doing a bus on our America tour next year. So that's going to be, the whole family on the bus with us, and and because the band love the kids and the kids love the band, and there's so many aunties and uncles in this. We call them like a organ player and a players, it's Auntie Audrey and Uncle Olaf, and they dote on them, and the kids love them. So it's like they're really like the support
big
from the
aunties
band
and uncles,
and the family on these trips, and it's been so special. It's been really seeing all these relationships sort of form, and we're realizing we're like, wow, that for the kids, like this band is like their family, and they talk about them outside around the shows, and they've got their favorite of the week. And it's like,
I've got a 9-year-old, like my eldest is 9, so like schooling is sort of like a thing for him. So that's also a really cool thing to be on the road and be surrounded by all these different older people, like, and they all kind of just like there's very different conversations. They do a bit. Well, actually, I have to probably give full credit to like my partner April. She's amazing at homeschooling, and she does all that, and she does such a great job. And my eldest now is just like reading book after book, and he's really going for it. And I think being on the road has helped him to sort of like to like learn a lot, I guess. So I think it's a special experience, but it can be hard as well, not having like a steady space,
But then they come back with the cool tour stories.
That's
kid in the school.
That's right. That's it, and it's also and that's why it's just good to do it now. Well, at this age, it feels like a really appropriate time, and we can reassess in years to come what's going to be the
next.
What's going to be appropriate.
You just got to take it step by step.
But for us at the moment, I just want to keep them with me. It's been, and it's really lovely to have all that. We've been kind of on this parenting journey all through the recording of the Winding Way and the writing of the Winding Way, and that was a kind of a process in itself, and that was a really cool journey. And I mean, so at the start of the Winding Way recordings, my youngest son Romy was like learning to walk. He took his first steps in our like Airbnb in Sydney outside of the studio that we were recording at, and during the writing of this record, that me and Sam didn't, go to a, writing retreat or sort of get away somewhere. We're at my house with my kids running around in the background, sort of like, and just focusing. You can, they're all there, and there's a lot of them are there.
There's many moments where you've probably some photos of us, like, with your daughter Ava having like having like a laptop as well, because we're on our laptops, like kind of writing a song and we're doing something.
And
so she's just
had her own laptop there, so she's involved. Oh, the ukulele, because we had a guitar and a laptop. So she had the ukulele and her laptop.
Of course, she's got
You've got to keep her involved, and like you
she's part of the
just
band.
find a way, like, you know. But I think writing music is a perfect thing like that to have kids around, because it's just like you're not constantly, I need to focus on this. You're like, oh, you're doing other things, but then, you know, by surrounding yourself with family and life, essentially, they're just sort of like they're things for creation, really. Inspiration, yeah.
And there's so much in this feature as well. I think one of the beautiful things is you opening up your home to our journalist Lars Brandle as well. You know, not every artist does that. It was such a thing within our office. We were like, gosh, this is going to make this feature so beautiful and personable. And what we try and do with our cover features is we try and invite fans into the artist or the front cover star's world. And we were literally invited across the threshold into your home. So, like, thank you so much.
Oh, anytime. And it was so lovely working with Lars and having him around. And I mean, and honestly, with Lars, we kind of had a lot of bonding over just like parenting chats as well. You know, he's got kids and they're a bit older now. And I was just talking to him at the after the Arias, a couple of weekends ago, and
where you took home 2 awards.
Yeah, only one
just
this
one.
time. Just
Okay,
one
nice.
this time. Yeah. And I was just talking parenting with Lars there. You know, just and it was lovely.
He
right?
is a beautiful man. I love Lars. Was there? So, have you read the feature? Did you read through it once?
So we had to
saw
read
it
it online, but I read it straight away online and loved reading it.
Were there any parts that surprised you? Any parts where you're like, oh, I can't believe Lars put that in? Okay.
No, I liked where he went with it. I thought it was really nice, and I didn't know we didn't have any interactions about what he was going to write. We really just had our chat, and he put it together, and I really like the way he laid it out. I thought it was really beautiful, and I like how he sort of took both the stories in there, and and there was some just like some of the highs and some of the lows. Some of we talk about the voice loss in there, and the which is my sort of post-COVID being out of action, not singing enough, and getting back into it, and just not being vocally fit, and just the sort of talking about the some of those hard parts of being a singer, and which is a huge part of my life, and so you got a bunch of it in there, which I thought was really beautiful. So yeah.
And what about you, Sam? Was there anything that really surprised you?
No, I think it was interesting, like reading it, because it was just it was a nice reflection of just of our lives, and I think nothing jumped out to me as surprising to read, but yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I think they did an amazing job. Yeah, the whole thing was really, really well put together. Bunch of pros you guys had working on this. Well done.
We got it.
Yeah.
It's Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
It's a certain level you've got to meet,
It's amazing. Yeah.
I'm glad that we even got this time with you, because your flight was delayed and you're here now.
We made it, didn't we? We made it, yeah. Sydney was kind of strangely the feels like the home ground of this album, of the Winding Way album that we're touring. We recorded this album up here, and this was our stomping ground while we were sort of on this recording.
So it really is coming back around to it.
Yeah, it was really beautiful, and that was actually a really lovely time, because we were all up here, and I got to know Sydney more than I ever had before. I had so much more time to really get to know, and
really got to fall in love with the city. Yeah,
it was really
great city. I've been from Melbourne. We're always kind of like, like Sydney, a bit standoffish. But then we came and recorded an album here, lived here for a while, while we were doing that. And I'm like, it's actually a really great city.
Melbourne is the best. I mean, don't get
me wrong. It is great.
Sydney is a beautiful city, though.
Yeah.
The rivalry is so odd to me, because they are such different cities to me.
Yeah. And
it shouldn't be a rivalry. They're just different.
Is there even a rivalry?
I feel like it's bullshit.
I think it's just a bit of a gimmick. Yeah. Everyone just there's jokes about it, but I think everyone from I feel like everyone appreciates stuff here, especially people who appreciate it.
Best friends tease each other.
That's what it is. Yeah.
I love thinking of it that way. They're just besties who haven't spoken in a while.
Yeah,
exactly.
Besties that like to tease each other. Yeah.
And both sides love going to Melbourne, and we love coming to Sydney.
And they can't admit it to each other.
Yeah, that's right. And that's kind of like it's almost like a joke. It's it's just.
But the thing I love, when we were recording up here, I had a gig at Manly, across thing, and going from the studio over on the boat to to the gig and then catching the boat back. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Like,
what a way to travel.
Yeah, what a way to travel.
On a ferry on
via boat.
Sydney Harbour, where the Opera House is there and the bridge is there.
I know.
It's insane.
And to think it's a sort of a normal way of commuting. It's
beautiful. It's an amazing trip, isn't it? Yeah.
You too. I am so thankful for your time. And I'm also, Josh, Sam, just so excited for the rest of the Teskey Brothers career. It's been phenomenal. What did you say? 8 years in at this point? Is that right?
Yeah, I mean,
8 years of people listening.
Longer, yeah.
8 years that we know about.
Yeah. 8 years that people have been listening to our music.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, me and Sam have been, playing, together since we were kids, so we've sort of we never even, I mean, we talk about people say that the Teskey Brothers, we never decided on this name. It was kind of like, it was like our first gigs we had when we were sort of like, 13 and 14. It was kind of like, and it was all this, people just like, what was that? It was sort of,
what we call you? We'll call you the Teskey Brothers.
Yeah. You're just known in the neighbourhood.
Yeah.
It was kind of, that was it. Yeah. And then, and I think one of our first venue owners, the Bodhi Tree out in Hillsville, Firak, who owned that place, he was like, because we never really had a name, and he was like, I got to put you on the blackboard or something. So I'll call you the Teskey Brothers,
Like, I can't just call you Josh and Sam.
I can literally thank that venue owner for like coming up with the name. That was it. And that was, I mean, which is not, it's a genius name.
You need to send him your new EP signed on vinyl and be like, thank you for naming us. It's worked out really well.
He's great. I'm still friends with him because I see him all the time. And,
Well, thank you, Josh. Thank you, Sam. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I have to say that I feel so grateful and lucky that I get to work in an industry that has the Teskey Brothers in it.
Thank you so much for having us. It's an honor to be here. And honor to be on the cover of Rolling Stone. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thank you so much for having us.